Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live Lyceum chat and for Paul Spiritualist Church in Dorset, the UK. I'm very pleased to announce that tonight we have got Lawrence, who I'm sure many of you know. He's come and he's going to chat to us, and I'm going to ask him all these difficult questions, which I'm sure he's looking forward to. Can I welcome all those that are joining us online live, and also all those that are watching later, from all those in America, Canada, Australia, and all the places that we seem to reach. Welcome. And without further ado, as they say, Lawrence.
Thank you,
Now,
Dave.
I know that you've been in spiritualism quite a while, and you have a lot of strong feelings about the subject. But can we start by talking about your early life and the influences on your spiritual path, if you like? Talking about family, I know your mum was quite influential in your development as a medium. So if you'd like to start with that, I'd be really pleased.
Yeah, certainly. I came into spiritualism through my parents. Mum was a night nurse at Poole Hospital for many years. And right next to Poole Hospital, people local to the area, where the multi-storey car park is now, on that plot of land, there used to be the original site of the Poole Christian Spiritualist Church.
Ah.
So mum working in that nursing environment, and it's very common with people working close in the aura with people, nurses, doctors, nail technicians, hairdressers, you do start to build up some sort of an awareness. And my mum had that coming in and asking questions, and so she started going to the spiritualist church. And very quickly, as with a lot of churches, especially at that time, there were very few people actually working in the church. I believe at that time it was just the president, vice president. So mum sort of stepped up and said, okay, and she started going in there doing cleaning. And then, of course, when I was off school, I couldn't be trusted to be left at home. Even when I'm 38, I can't be trusted to be left at home. So I started going in with her, and then started going to the services. And then my father got heavily involved. He got dragged along. He was one of those very much, I don't believe, no, I'm not into it. But he ended up actually as an ordained minister of Spiritual Church. So the seeds were sown very, very early years. And then, like is common with most people, I grew up, I found other avenues of interest, moved away, I moved up to London, then out of the country and did various things. But that seed had been sown. And I hear that a lot now with people coming into the church. And it's lovely when I hear that. Oh, I've not been in, but my mum used to go. And you just know that's the way they work. You think, here you go, here's a little seed. And when the time's right, come back. All right, and it'll start germinating.
Did you have any psychic experiences as a child? See any spirit? Any strange occurrences?
I did. I was quite lucky, actually, because through the affiliation to the church with me, my mother and my father's involvement, I sat with some wonderful mediums. We talk about mediums of yesteryear, and we remember all the big names. But do you know what? There were so many more other mediums, local mediums who just got on and did the job. And they were amazing. They were brilliant teachers, really dedicated to working for spirit. Were not in it for any money, fame, glory, accolade whatsoever. But they were and I sat in circles when I was 12 and 13. And seeing, obviously at that age, probably people who say, "Oh, it's just an active imagination."
Yeah.
But I was seeing things that people understood. There was twins, the Sherritt twins, and I said, "Oh, there's a knight in shining armor behind you, sat on a white steed," and she was overjoyed because that was her guide. And I was just like, it didn't mean a lot to me at that time, but now when I look back, I can see in the plan where that slotted in nicely. Yes, I did. And also, the other side of it, I did have quite a few experiences of what turned out to be out of body, but I didn't know it at the time. And do you know what? As a kid, that frightened the living daylights out of me. Absolutely terrified me because I
Yeah.
was in bed paralyzed and I was trying to call out and I couldn't. And then suddenly it was like that. So, although very interesting to be involved at that very early age, they're like everything. There's balancing elements
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Some parts of it were like, oh, yes, I remember that.
Good. So what about your unfoldment then? So if you'd obviously seeing spirit at quite an early age, at what point did you decide that you're going to take this further and sort of follow it through and join a regular development group or
Look,
circle, should I say?
yeah, that didn't happen till much later. As I said, I went away, I lived a life. When I look back, though, through my working life, I always had that unconscious ability, and not to give evidential mediumship, because I say there's many different levels of mediumship, inspirational. But I did seem to have a gift where I could talk to people and just sit down and really communicate on a very deep level, not glib, oh, nice day outside, but really talk with people. And it didn't register with me. And people used to go away from me thinking, feeling healed or uplifted or whatever, bless them. And that didn't register with me until I came back to the area when mum and dad were getting to that age they needed somebody about. And at that time, dad was still the, excuse me, the president here at Paul. So I was coming into Paul Church to support him and then started sitting in circle. But I'd started off, I wanted to go down the healing route. So although sat in circle where I didn't seem to get a lot, I then started on my healing route, which is where I felt I was going. And it was when I was learning Reiki, when on the Reiki 2 series, that I was working with people. And as I was working with them, people were talking in my ear. And I'm like, this ain't right. What's going on? And the tutor I was under, she's a lovely lady, said, yeah, stop doing the Reiki, go and sit and develop your mediumship. And I went, oh, okay.
Yeah, we do as we're told, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
So do you know, can you remember any specific teachers that really influenced your development? Mentors?
Oh, many.
Many, none in particular?
Yeah. Molly Clay, absolute delightful lady. Again, a local medium, but awesome, absolutely awesome. She was a very big inspirer. She was one of the ones that really kick-started my platform mediumship. Great sense of humour, so obviously I got on really well with her. I always remember we were sat in her little home circle. She had like one of these log cabins, a friend's house. So we used to sit in circle. It was absolutely riotous when we were in there. The humour and the love and everything. But it was Molly that said, my mediumship is a bit like a monkey with a shotgun. She said, sometimes you bang on target and other times you break a window. You really need to control that. But absolutely adored Molly. But I was so fortunate again with the affiliation with the church that I was introduced to a lot of the local mediums. And they were very much mediums of their era. Without this is not a sexist or anything remark. This is just something that happened in that era. We had so many great mediums because the social side of life was the old man went out to work all day and the missus stayed at home. That is that social history. And a lot of these ladies who dedicated that time, because working with spirit is about dedication. It is not a 5-minute job. It's not do a workshop and you're a medium. It's not
Yes.
pick it up, when you want it and put it down. You make a commitment. All people out there have been sat in circles and everything. You'll probably understand this. You sat there one day, you come in from work, you've had the world's worst day ever. It's peeing down with rain, it's cold. You don't want to eat before the circle and you're starving, yet you still go.
Yeah. It's a commitment. It's a commitment, definitely. Yeah.
And I was so fortunate that I met all these wonderful mediums from locally and from London. Jessie Nason came down and visited us a couple of times. Now, I didn't realise Jessie Nason was very, very well-known medium, but she was great. She was like my mother's sister. Their nature, their build, their attitude was so similar. But she was an amazing lady, and she actually sat down because they used to come down for a weekend, stay with mum and dad for the weekend, and work in the church all over the weekend.
Yeah.
I always remember Jessie Nason saying to me, "You've got a lot of work to do with spiritualism," she said, "but you're not ready yet." And I just sat there going, "Yeah, right, that'll be the day." And look what happened.
Yeah, there you go. What was your first experience of being on the platform like?
Ooh. Through my development as an evidential medium, and I use that term because, as I say, I'm very passionate that mediumship is on so many levels. When we're talking about evidential mediums, a medium stood on a platform or doing a one-to-one whose primary purpose is to bring through evidence of somebody living past what we call death.
Yeah.
I would have started off on the open platforms. There's a lovely lady I used to sit with in Circle called Julia, and still in touch with her. She's a really nice lady. And we used to go around and support each other at open platforms and doing these little testers, these little trials to see, how things went.
Experiments.
Exactly, yeah. We did actually get told off because we then went to go and sit with Margaret Clawton. Now, people local to the area may remember Margaret. She frightened the living daylights out of me when I first met her. She terrified me. She was this very strong Yorkshire character, and she absolutely terrified me. I was just like, go away, don't talk to me ever. But she invited Julia and myself to go and sit with her, and she said, "You're not doing open platform. I will take you out when you are ready, and
When
not
you are ready.
before."
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And she did, bless her. She very much a lady of her word. So I was invited along with Margaret to work with her, and it would be discussed beforehand. You may do the opening prayer and one message. And then the following week, you do one message and the closing prayer.
Yeah.
A lot of people today would think, "Oh no, I want to do more than that." But that was just
It's good grounding. It's good grounding. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I think that, as you say, that there's too much emphasis now on getting on the platform early, and you've done a week somewhere and you're now a medium. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big issue with that as well, because you're not only doing spirit a disservice, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. Of course, I mean, we know you as the person that runs Poole Spiritualist Church, but how did you get that job, as it were? How did you end up running the church when clearly you had a career doing other things before that?
Yeah. Anyway, one very sad truism within not only spiritualism, but a lot of the Orthodox religions, that sometimes they become breeding grounds for people who are not in the least bit spiritual, or if they are, I don't know which side of the veil they're working on, but it's not very good. We at Poole Church, there was a big created issue I don't want to go too deep into it.
No, it's fine.
It was
Fine.
quite nasty, but it just ended up the entire committee left, and I was left there with one other lady thinking, oh, okay, what do we do now?
And now what? Yeah.
So it was never a sought after position, because people used to say to me, you'll be running this church one day, and I went, no, I bloody won't.
over my dead body. Yeah.
Yeah, no way, no.
Yeah. So when did you actually take the church over then? What year was that?
What are we now? 21. So
21.
2000, early on in 2019.
2019. Oh, it's only 2-3 years then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I got the connections to the church,
Yeah.
I was the treasurer pre taking over the full mantle. I was quite happy just to drift along and not do a lot. But
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that a lot of people say of this time, the COVID era, why didn't Spirit tell us it was coming? Well, in a way they did, because people were maneuvered to be in certain places. And certainly, we're just coming up now. We are 2 weeks shy of our first anniversary.
Nearly a year.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I don't know. I don't know if that would have happened or not if I had not been here. I'm not going to claim glory for that. I do not know. But I do know that it did happen. And as I say, here we are 2 weeks shy of celebrating the first year of this huge program of online and worldwide reach. Did I see there? Vancouver Island in Canada is watching us tonight.
Oh, well done. Welcome.
How awesome is that?
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. Moving on to the pure subjects of spiritualism, what do you think is the most important thing that spiritualism can teach us today?
Ooh.
Have you got any thoughts on that subject?
Yeah, lots of thoughts. I've just got to organise them in some semblance of a narrative.
It's really what it brings to the world that we live in, and with all its changing moods and things, problems.
Yeah, no. It's a very good question. I can answer that by saying what has spiritualism brought to me.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
The world is built up of us. We create the world. Each and every one of us out there, by our own action or inaction, contribute to the direction and the way that this world goes. But becoming more and more into spiritualism and this understanding that life is eternal, that is a really big thing to acknowledge. It's one of these we say it, we just say, oh yeah, there is no death.
Yeah.
That was easy. I've just said it. When you understand that, or not fully, you never fully understand it, I believe, but when you get that real sense of, you know what, there is no death, it actually makes this life so much more valuable. Because
and also, I think it's a game changer, as they say.
It is. It is one of those truths. We hear things, we say things out of dogma or whatever, but when it actually hits home and that realize that, it's just like suddenly the curtains are drawn back and you've got this whole new vista. Spiritualism has taught me that, we are on this continuing, ever evolving journey of life in many forms, many forms. So at this time, we are here with purpose, with direction. And I don't mean, I've said this from the platform, when we say about the life plan, doesn't mean, well, tomorrow I'm going to have beans on toast. It's the big things in our life that change us. And it's a bit like a game of billiards as well, that no one pool ball rolls across the table without touching anything else.
Yeah.
There's always these little knock-on effects. So you become much, much more aware of yourself, your presence, your energy, not in an egotistical way, but you do become much more responsible for yourself. I go back, all right, I've lived a life, okay? Some of it, I've never hurt anybody, but some parts, probably not for publication and certainly not before the watershed at 9 o'clock.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I've learned and encompassed now, to try, and I don't get it right all the time. No, in my book, nobody does. That's my caveat. That's my get out clause. But I have learned to be compassionate to people, to try and hold back, when we get the challenges, and especially at this time, because there is just so much divisionalism going on about everything. And just to not add to those energies, and just try and help to talk to people and be compassionate. One of the really touching things, and it's one of the saddest duties, but it's a really touching time. I've been asked to take many funerals for people, and I took one a couple of weeks ago. And actually, on the way over there, I had this little glimmer of realization that these people, at the worst time of their life, they've just lost husband, mother, brother, father, sister, whoever, whatever the relationship is. They've just lost them. They're bereft. They are absolutely at their wits' end and everything. And they thought of me to take the funeral. Do you know what? And you just think, oh my God.
Yeah, the responsibility. Yeah.
Oh my God. I must be getting something right. And,
Well, yeah.
and it's a huge, huge thing, but it is. So when you say about spiritualism, it's just made me more aware of me and my interactions with other people, and just trying to stave and just be helpful, be cheerful. Everybody, probably a lot of people know me more for my sense of humour. I am blessed that I have got a good sense of humour and this persona, but I enjoy upliftment with people. I always say we weren't put here to be bloody miserable.
No, that's right. Yep.
And if you can get a laugh and a smile out of people, because people come into the church, especially those for their first time, they're coming in for a reason. They're coming in because they've suffered loss, they've suffered grief. We will see more and more now people coming into our churches and centres, trying to find out the meaning of life, because people's perceptions of life and how we live it has changed through COVID.
Most definitely, yeah.
And people are going to be out there looking for answers. And I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I get that. That's fine. But the ones that you can help and uplift, you take something from that. And again, it's not an egoist energy in any means. It's just you walk away and you think, God, I really helped there, or I really hope that helped, or do you know what I mean? So
we do. I do.
Spiritualism has taught me about me.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. And I think a lot of people don't realize when they come into it just the impact it will have. And most people, certainly, if they look for development, they always say, this has changed the way I look at things. Moving on from that, so would you say you have a personal philosophy? And if so, what that is? I mean, I think you've touched on it already, really.
It's personal philosophy at this time, because again, we change, we evolve all the time. At this time, it's very much about the philosophy side of spiritualism. Since we've entered in the COVID era, I found the evidential mediumship, the amount of it proliferating online. I mean, I've seen some stunning examples. Lovely Yvonne Nielsen the other week delivered one of the most sensitive and beautiful messages that I have ever seen. And I've seen some messages. Flip side of the coin, you see some people thinking, oh, okay, right, switch that off. So I found the philosophy side, because I've always said with the philosophy, you go to a church service and you get a message, which is wonderful. I'm not decrying that. I never decry that because of the need. But you hear the address, and spirit are as much a part of today's life. We're talking about today, the 3rd of March, 2021. They are talking about today. and how that we can best sort of like handle what's going on around us, how we can handle ourselves. So my philosophy really is about going within, going and sitting within the silence, sitting in the stillness, and just asking something for me
Yeah,
to help me to be a better part of this planet.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Got a question here from Stacey.
Oh, we got a question. Good.
How is
Where?
he?
There it is. I like that one.
Yeah. Probably the answer is no. No, it's a very good question, Stace. I was working. I took early retirement. I used to work on the railways, and we were going through another change of ownership. And I just thought, you
God,
know what,
yeah.
I've been through this so many times. I'm not doing it again. It's rubbish. So I thought I'd get myself a little job where I could help a charity. Ta-da! So do you know what? Yes, I have outside interests. I used to be very keen on the gym, but of course, COVID has seen an end to that for this time. I do just enjoy going out and being out in nature, but actual life, there is more than enough here within this church that keeps me so active. Between all the online work, the preparation for the online work, the building for the future, bringing people in with an eye to the future, the structure, because I'm very focused on that at this time. That I just want to build this church into being a huge hub of the community, the best that it can be. Coming out of COVID is going to be a bit like coming out of the rubble and seeing what's left in my eye.
Look after the Blitz.
Yeah. And how this, as you can see behind me, we've got a beautiful facility here. And how can that best serve the community and support groups, etc. Not just church services, but combining all those energies, because I believe that is the way forward. It's going to be a cooperative thing. Of course, the developmental side for mediumship and healing, but also being an active, as I say, a very active part of the community and welcoming in people who, you know, whose ideas, anybody who's working in charity, you know what, they are a church in their own right, because they're working in service to others for very little or no reward whatsoever. So yeah, being a part of that. So yeah, my life outside at the moment is on hold. My life in the church has ramped up by about 800%, but I'm loving every minute of it.
There's a good question here from Jackie. And you see it? Jackie Elliott. Yeah. That was one of mine, so that's great.
Yeah.
No one else has asked it.
Yeah. Lovely question, Jackie. Lovely question there. How do you see the future for spiritualism? How I would like to see the future for spiritualism, in fact, all religions, is eventually, at some stage in our evolutionary path, that we become this universal church. Because unfortunately, as I was talking about divisionalism earlier on, we see that even within our own movement, you know, and I think the world's had to grow up very quickly, and us with it. And all these factions, these divisionalism issues coming in will be dealt with quite quickly. So I think with spiritualism, I think you will see a much more open book and a lot more working in between different groups and different parts of spiritualism that before was unheard of. But I think an awful lot of spiritualists will just go, I'm a spiritualist, not I'm a whatever spiritualist. I'm a spiritualist. So I do see a good future for spiritualism. How can it not be? You know, we are in contact with highly evolved intelligence who are chomping at the bit to try and help us to get over where we are, and not only get over where we are, rebuild better. You know, because we look outside of the COVID era, you look at the state of the world today. What was it? Rocket attack out in the Middle East, killed 10. Out in another country, there was a load of people butchered. You know, this world is in a bad state, and it is down to us. But spirit working through us can help to alleviate and start to bring up that vibration, to start to try and negate, to, you know, inspire people. Because as I say about mediumship is not being stood inside. Mediumship is not being stood up there saying, "I've got your mother here." Mediumship to me is being out there and bringing people together and making things work and lifting ideas and really bringing in passion into our practices. And, you know, looking at life in general, and going and being honest of what is right and what is wrong, and trying to work together to correct that. We're of this generation. We know what's going wrong in the world. We know with the environment what's going on. We know with the conflicts what's going on. But I think at this time, we need to actually start to work on putting that right. Spiritualism and the philosophy, don't just limit it to the churches and the centres. Go out of that, because there are so many more people who understand spiritual practices who are not part of any spiritualism group, church, whatever, but they work on that inspirational level. They work with going within. So spiritualism, I can see evolving into a very potent, probably quiet, but a potent force nonetheless. And say, how do you see the church evolving here? I could be totally wrong, but I think we are coming into some very severe times financially and socially. All this is not going to come without a cost, and it's a bit like we're running up this huge tab at the moment, and sooner or later the waiter's going to come along to the table with the bill, and it's going to have to be paid. And the effects of that are going to be catastrophic for some families and people on their own. I would like to see the church here doing the best that it can to be of some support to people who are going to start coming into this new world of trouble and upset, be it the comfort of a service, be it the comfort of healing, be it by dropping groups, by, you know, actively helping people. We was talking to one of the military charities, and I suggested that if they wanted to do a monthly drop-in session here, you'd be more than welcome. And they nearly took my arm off. They said that is a brilliant idea. So yeah, I see the church becoming more and more. And you know what? The more the spiritualist churches and centres become part of the community, the more people will become open to the idea. So it's a lovely double-edged sword that it is getting out there and being part of the communities. And I think that's going to happen. Sadly, I forecast we're going to lose a lot of churches and centres because of this time. You know, they're not going to be able to reopen. They won't be able to operate with the constraints on the numbers, etc. And we're just going to see a great loss of churches and centres across the length and the breadth of the land. I do believe very strongly that the ones that are left actually will flourish, because they've got the backing of spirit, they've got that ability there of spirit, they've got that strength, that unity of spirit, they've got that empowerment of spirit. And I'm already seeing it with a couple of churches up north where they've opened up food banks within the church. How wonderful is that? And that wouldn't have happened 5 years ago. Let's be honest, it would never have happened. But it's beginning to. So I see the church becoming a very busy hub of the community, and well deserved.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the Totton do as well. Totton Church, Southampton.
Yeah,
they have a
food bank.
A food bank. That's the word I wanted. jumping back to your personal experience here, I've got the question I've got that is, what would you say to yourself if you were to be able to go back in time and give advice on starting on your mediumship path? What advice would you give yourself with the blessing of hindsight?
I would say, honestly, say to myself, don't change a thing. I had fun. and, and again, it's pre-watershed. I never hurt anybody, but I had a good life. I had a very interesting life. I met some amazing people that I would never have met had I not gone on these different routes. And great inspirers of mine. So do you know what? I'm happy where I am. So I wouldn't change a thing, to quote that group. I can't remember. I can hear the song.
Yeah. I meant on your mediumship path. Is there anything about your path to mediumship that you would change? Or you
again? I think it was the same. I lived that life. I had all those wonderful experiences, which has been the foundation of my mediumship, which has been the foundation of the person that I was when I started to develop that mediumship again. I don't think I would like to have gone back and gone solely down the mediumship path at a very early age, because I think I would have been growing more out of this world than in this world. And I like the fact that I am more in this world, and my mediumship brings in those energies, because I do find through my mediumship, it's very practical. I was asked to do a private reading today for one of my tutors, and that's always like, oh God, no. No, don't make me do that. You know, your tutors you revere and honor, you know, and the last person in the world you want to give a message to is one of them. But actually, you know what? It was really beautiful. When it got going, it was really, really beautiful. And it was really practical, and it was quite earthy in areas, but it needed to be. And yeah, I'm really happy where I am. I'm really interested to see what's coming off. I do, as some of you probably know, I'm trying very badly to learn some Danish. Not only in respect and honor, because we've got some beautiful people. I see lovely Yvonne's in the room.
Yeah, Yvonne is in. Yeah, hi, Yvonne.
We have made some amazing friends from all over the world that we never would have met, and they're absolutely beautiful people. And I think it's a common courtesy that if you can communicate in somebody else's language, just a basic civility, it's a courtesy thing. But it's just twofold, because I've sat and talking to spirit, and I said I would love, as part of my mediumship and my evidential bias with that, to deliver in a language unknown to me. So I thought, like, to try and activate that part of the brain learning, because you know, after you leave school, that bit switches off totally, doesn't it? So to activate that part of the brain and to think differently, I thought, oh, that's great. I'll pick one of the hardest languages in the world. Jeg taler lilla dansk. To try and learn. But again, that's to aid and abet my mediumship, because I just would love that to come through. Not for my benefit, for the benefit of the sitter and the benefit of the spirit, giving that message. I just would like to see that little area progress with my mediumship, and changing my mediumship as well. The lovely Jack, who's in the room today, gave a suggestion when he was on this very program a while back. I tried it. It was different. It's got to be worked at. But that's fine, because, you know, we should never be happy with our mediumship.
No, I think you should experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, we should never be happy. We should never say, oh, right, I am now a medium.
Yeah, no. I think it's lethal if you say that. Yeah. I've got two questions here. One from Christina. Which one you want to take first? And one from Sarah. So,
is that the one?
Yeah, that's Christina's. Yeah. Not so much a question, I think a statement. Sorry, yeah.
And that's lovely. And again, Christine is a lovely example. I believe you're in Stockholm. And the outreach of this online era is just such a credit to our workings and our understandings with spirit. I've probably told this story before, but as you can see behind me with the church, this is the layout as per 2 meter distance.
COVID layout.
I was being told before it became an issue in the UK, because I'd done various things. I'd put paper hand towels in the loos. I split up the chairs from where they were, because it used to be the aisle down the middle and the chairs either side. And I put 2 aisles in and split up the chairs. And people said, "Why are you doing that?" I guess I've got no bloody idea, but I just seemed like a good idea. All right. But it was spirit sort of like going, you know what, you want to start maneuvering things around
preparation, yeah.
And when I did that, I put the 2 aisles in. Somebody actually said to me, "Oh well, you've ruined it now. Spirit won't be able to get across that." And I'm thinking, well, if spirit can't cover 1 meter, then I think we're going to be in an awful lot of trouble. But as this time has taught us, the lovely Jack, who's in the room tonight, gave me a stunning message from Denmark. And it's just absolutely awesome that we've had this real sea change in our expectations and our design that we have on spirit, again, because we do this all the time. We constrain spirit with our thoughts. It is by no means the other way around.
Yeah, it's our linear thinking that gets in the way, no doubt about it. I mean, as far as spirit are concerned, I don't think there's any obstacles with time or space. That's just there.
Yeah.
Thought carries it all. Sarah has a question. Yeah.
Ooh. What do you say has been your most inspirational, moving, or interesting experience? Very hard to define any one. But I've witnessed. What would have been your most inspirational? I can't define one, but it's the generality that through I've lost the word now. Evidential mediumship, that the communicator has managed to get through my thick head a real defining piece of evidence, not a fey generational thing, but a real defining piece of evidence that the sitter has sorely needed. There's an old saying, you say a lot of mediums must be just a tiny bit sadistic, because when we get tears from a sitter, we go, yes. It's not, oh, great, I made them cry. It means, you know what, I've touched their heart and I've done my job. So inspirational, moving is when you know that you've got it right, you've interpreted it right, and you've conveyed that message correctly, and you've really touched their heart. Interesting experience. Do you know what? And this is not talked about often. There are other sides to working with spirit. Not every spirit is lovely, fluffy, cuddly, warm and bouncy. As we are, so shall we be. And I had really interesting 2 friends of mine who lived away from the area. There was a history to this house where they lived, and one of their ex-partners had died in that house, and then these 2 had got together. The ex-partner had not left the house. And when I went up to stay, there was all this stuff happening, and these 2 were just sat there blithely ignoring it and go, "No, once you're dead, you're dead. No, load of rubbish, doesn't matter." And I was sat there, and I said, "Oh, what's that banging?" I said, "There's like 3 bangs on the ceiling." No, couldn't hear anything. And then in conversation, this person that died used to attract their attention by banging 3 times on the ceiling. And then the first night I stayed there, they put me in that room. And he opened the door, and I walked in. I went, "Oh, this is so and so's room." And he went, "How did you know?" Because he's bloody sat in the chair. Yeah. And he's going, "Don't be stupid." And I'm like, "I can see him, and I never see spirit." So that was really interesting, because as it evolved, in this funny, bizarre way, and I'd never thought and heard of it before, but it doesn't feel wrong. I was acting sort of as a guide for that spirit to move on. I found that fascinating, because obviously there was a fair bit of bitterness and resentment, because he died but still in the house, and then his partner got another partner and moved him into that house. So it was sort of like he was not happy. And I was talking to him and getting that fit and trying to help him to understand. So that was intensely interesting, because I thought, hang on, I'm working on a guide level here. I find that wild.
Really, yeah. But I think it could work both ways, definitely. I mean, I've seen people in my life change over time with messages. They've obviously moved on. I mean, that reminds me of Blithe Spirit by Oscar Wilde. It's the same scenario.
Yes.
Husband takes on a new wife, and the old wife is still around. So yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So there's one there from Pauline.
Ah, yeah.
The answer is yes. What format and what design is still yet to be finally decided. One of the things that, with my energy and the way that I've worked with this time and spiritualism, is to be adventurous and to try things. And if they work, great. If they don't work, backtrack it to where it stopped working and then try again. So the online stuff just happened. Believe you me, it was not planned. As I said earlier on, we're just coming up for our first year's anniversary with it, and it just happened. It just evolved, and a lot of it was inspired. You know, I was just talking to people. I've met some amazing people. I've been so blessed. Lovely Simon James, Steve Richards from Australia, Jack, Yvonne, Lola, Anya. Ewan from Scott. Oh, God, Ewan's got a great voice. It's like melted butter. He's a lovely man. So, yeah, that's too good to just switch off. So it won't be switched off. It may change slightly. I am running a little online poll at the moment, just to get a little bit of feedback to see where people are interested. And funny enough, the Lyceum nights are coming out very strongly, as are the Saturday nights, where we drift away from spiritualism and more into spirituality. But again, they've served a great purpose. We've had beautiful speakers on there, and we've got some really wonderful ones coming up as well. So yes, the online meetings will be happening. They may change slightly in their format or their nights, but the core ones that are being very well supported will definitely continue.
Brilliant. Yeah. Now we got any more questions? I don't think we have. I think that's it. No.
Quick one there from Space. Do I move Spirit on?
Oh yeah, it's it now. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you know what? One of my old tutors used to say, "Where's the evidence?" And that phrase stuck with me. I did find sometimes people's stories of rescue work were, I couldn't quite get a grip on it. I couldn't quite understand it. So I was in two minds until one day I was sat with dear Barbara, who people who know the church will remember Barbara. And during that circle, I was taken to 3 different locations locally to move spirit on. And I found that really interesting because I had then that first hand, I knew what was going on. One wanted to go, one needed talking out, and the other one wasn't going to budge. It was his house, he wasn't leaving, and I had to go. I was the one being chucked out, so that was quite interesting. Completely not planned, not asked for, but yes, very interesting. So I believe, yes, that we can all move spirit on. How we resonate with different, again, is personalities. You know, I might be able to sweet talk somebody out, and somebody else will just take complete umbrage at me and not want to listen to me. So I believe that we all can, that we all find our own resonance and our own vibration to work with people. And if one person can't do it, you may find somebody else can do it.
Yeah.
I've got a wonderful quick story here, my mum and dad, because when they were running the church many years ago, they were asked to go out and do a few house clearances. I just thought, yes, I've been doing it. But they were called out by a lady, because she had this other lady was in her house and she wanted her moved on. So they went over and they did whatever they did at the time, moved her on. Well, 3 weeks later, they got a phone call from this lady saying, "Could you get her back like once a week?"
Oh my God.
No, I don't think I agree with that. But yeah.
No, that's definitely new. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. Honest to God. Could you get her back like, once a week? Because I miss her around the place.
Yeah. Right, yeah. The last question I've got, which I think you've probably answered, to be honest, which is what lessons do you think we've learned over the last year, and how can we apply them to the future? How is it going to change what we do? But I think you've covered a large amount of that already.
No, it's interesting. It depends what level you want to go in with that. I think on the spiritualism level, I think we've learned to put aside some of our barriers and our blockages and I can't do that, because it's not about us doing it, it's about spirit doing it. And spirit, as I said, keep demonstrating that they can do it from hundreds of miles away, if not thousands of miles away, without any glitch whatsoever. So I think that it's opened the doors greatly to a more a bigger congregation or grouping, whatever terminology you feel comfortable with, of people working together more. See greater things being able to achieve. You imagine, like, if we said, okay, we're going to do a Saturday of healing and we're going to link up with all the groups in Europe that we can.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And we're all going to work on one vibration. We're all going to work on, whatever vibration. So I think it's opened the doors enormously. The potential there is vast. It's also taught us, sadly, about the greed and the ego that is prevalent in some areas of spiritualism. You see some posts. What was it? There was one advertised. It was an hour and a half workshop on something a little bit out there for me, and it was only £48. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah. Some charge fantastic amounts I've seen. Yeah.
And we're seeing people, let's be honest, is not being nasty, who are not mediums purporting to be mediums. That can do a lot of damage, not only to the people actually doing it, but the people actually being taken in by it, because you see them supporting some pretty wild theories and ideas that sitters are talking about, and that's sad. It's something to be very, very aware of. It was always there pre coming into the online era. It was always there. They were in the area, but because it was in the physical world, you had a bit more ability. You knew the ones
to avoid. Yeah,
we've had it in the church where people have approached people.
I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's as simple as that. There is a downside to it, but I mean, it certainly has pushed spiritualism and a lot of the sort of allied subjects into the 21st century, move forward.
Definitely.
Yeah, we've moved out
really,
of the 19th century, which a lot of churches were still in many respects.
And I really hope that one of the biggest side effects of all this is this sense of community. That we here at Paul, I mean, there's testimony tonight. We've got Canada on, we've got America on, we've got Denmark on, we've got the UK on. How amazing is that? And this sort of thing can't be let to just fall away to nothing. This has got to continue. It can be let to fall away through unattentiveness. It can be.
Well, that's right. You could lose the impetus.
Yeah. Okay, we needed it then, we don't need it now, but I think we need to continue this, to bring this in and talk with people and be able to access, some amazing talkers and, share these philosophies, these ideas, these thoughts, these understandings. And I found that pre-COVID era, I was getting very despondent with spiritualism because it was every night was another night of mediumship, here, there, everywhere. They were in bars, clubs, nightclubs, drive-throughs. I'm sure somebody somewhere did drive-through messages.
Pick and mix messages.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good phrase, because it was. If you didn't get the message you like one night, you'll go another night and then get the one you want. Yeah. And I was getting very despondent to that, because spiritualism offers so much more, so much more. And this era, this coming into the computer era with spiritualism, has really opened up all the things that I felt were so sadly lacking and being neglected. The philosophy side, the healing side. I asked for healing for somebody, and I had an awesome response to that. Absolutely amazing. Such a great comfort to the family. They absolutely loved that. They were so grateful that so many people were thinking of them at that time. The philosophy side of it, the talks, this like talking head thing that we're doing now, bouncing ideas and talking about spiritualism, because we never really got that opportunity beforehand. You come in, sit in the service, quick cup of tea, have a natter about something, and then go. But now we're in this online environment. We're actually creating this space and this energy that we say, come on, talk, ask questions, discuss things and debate, because debate was getting pushed out of the political field by you weren't allowed to debate. If you came up with an alternative theory to something, you were shouted at. And
orthodoxy, yes, orthodoxy.
Yeah. So
there's a few comments coming up now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Stacey, yeah, see that
one. Yeah, we are seeing a lot of that, and there are a lot of people sneaking in as well too. Who is it? Craig Morris seems to get besieged by them when he goes on with Billy Cook.
Yeah. If you want what call detailed message, I think is the commonest one I've seen. Yeah. Oh gosh, Marion's put a lot there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, Marion. And that's something we'll be looking at Paul about the online workshops, because again, where we've now spread these wings and made so many contact with some really awesome people, absolutely amazing, wonderful, genuine people, who would, in the real world, I would love Jack, Lola, Yvonne, Anya. I want you all here in Paul, all the time. You can't do that, because they live there.
Yeah, but physically possible.
Through this medium of the electronic era, that we can utilize and share those people. Lovely Tim Abbott. He's been a great friend to us as well, and Jeanette, his wife. It's just so many people out there, got so much to teach. So the online workshops is something being looked at for Paul Church very earnestly to set up a program of that, and the balance here as well between our virtual presence and our real-time presence. Because in a way we could be like two churches in one. There's nothing to say that we can't have an online activity going on the same time as we've got a real-time activity.
Most definitely, yeah, most definitely. I think that's the way forward, is to mix and match, as it were.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
So thank you, Marion. Yeah, they have been very well received. The streamed services has been very interesting. Again, very early on, I was inspired to. Can't get it. And I was there. Why won't my finger go near it? This is magic. I'm trying to point at the camera. There.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were probably the first spiritualist church ever, I think, to live stream a real-time church service. And that has been amazingly well received. Absolutely amazing. And I've not had many decriers to it, because we don't show the congregation. It's just the people working on the platform, and it's just been absolutely amazing that you see the number of people who are actually watching it. So I've introduced like the online host to welcome people into the electronic room. And it's just awesome that we can reach out to people, and people are saying, you know, this is so lovely because our church is shut, or I live so far away, or I live in a country where we haven't got any.
Or they're housebound, as someone has mentioned about the housebound. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. The stream services, and Paul is just saying the Zoom services. Yeah, the Zoom services certainly serve a purpose. They are wonderful. That interaction level. Oh, lovely, Julie Caswell. I like Julie. Yeah, you've hit on the very interesting topic there, Julie, because it was, you know, spiritualism had a great resonance and a great resurgence post both the wars, post First World War and post
Second World War, yeah.
Because again, as this time, people's focuses were actually put on the value of life, where it wasn't before. You know, the focus was the value of how much money you're getting and how much you're going to spend. So again, spiritualism will come into its fore for the next quite a few years, where people are going to earnestly go out and ask these questions, and they deserve well-grounded, well-educated answers, or redirecting to a source where they can get what they need. They really do.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of positive comments.
Yes, that's all lovely. This is so weird. I want to interview you now, Jamie.
Sorry?
I want to interview you. I keep going to ask.
Force of habit. Yeah, it's a habit, isn't it? Yeah, great. Yeah. So I mean, there's some wonderful comments. I mean, you're to be commended on all your hard work. It's clearly that comes through all the messages.
Yeah. Absolute pleasure. But I'm only paving the way for others to follow. You know.
Yeah, but there has to be pioneers. Yep, there has to be pioneers.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah, I think. Sorry.
I want you to make me a promise. If you're talking about me in 30 years' time, at least.
I won't be here. I won't be here in 30 years' time. I shall probably, if I am, it'll be serious dementia by then. But
well, anybody listening, if you're talking to me in 30 years' time, if you mention my name, always smile, because somebody said that. They said, "Oh, whenever you hear your name, they always sort of like chuckle," and I'm like, "Oh, I like that."
Yeah. Jackie wants you to tell a joke.
One of my jokes to finish. Oh no, it's not the watershed yet. I can't pull off jokes. I can't remember jokes.
I can't remember my name, let alone jokes half the
I
time.
know.
But yeah.
But do you know what, people? Spiritualism offers so much to everybody. It really does. It really is the basis of a well-lived life. Because you know what? When we go back home, all we're going to take is what we've done, who we are, our memories, and they deserve to be really good. And not to go back so many times as a medium. I've passed on that message from spirit saying, "I wish I had."
Oh
Or, "I'm
gosh.
sorry I did." Don't be one of those messages. You know, if you've fallen out with somebody, phone them up. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah.
I think that's one of the most valuable lessons I think we can learn from listening to other people's messages, is that when you look at it, you can see that so often that thread comes through about, how they feel indebted, they feel regret that there were things they should have said and done and didn't. So I mean, I think that's one of the abiding messages that comes through from spirit, which tells us a lot about how we should live our lives.
Hugely.
Yeah.
I say now confidently, but I might have a surprise when I get back upstairs. I won't be coming back saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't do something." I want to actually come back as a ghost on the internet. That's because I've sort of like made this my home now. I want to be able to
haunt people's computers. Yeah.
I'm sure it can be done. You know the saying, "There's a ghost in the machine." Well,
there's a ghost in the machine. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
absolutely. DC, no, I'm not Buzz. I do.
He's not admitting to it anyway.
I have had people come up to me and go, "Oh, hello, how are you?" Chatting away, and I just stood there going, "Yes, I'm fine." And behind my face,
who on earth was that? Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you? And somebody did say one time, they said, "We watch you every Saturday," and I went, "Ah, right, oh, okay." I've got no idea who you are. Please stop talking to me. Marion's got a comment there. Reverence. Yes, indeed. During the services, especially, there is decorum, there is reverence to be done, there is dignity on all sides. You know, as a medium, you get sometimes you have something come through which you need to put in another way, because to put it out there, I'll give you my seminal classic example of this. I've got your son here. He died of a drugs overdose. Response: no, he didn't. The other response from me was, stop right now and sit down, please, because that's just not acceptable. I've got your son here. I know I've got a very addictive personality with him. I know that, there's a lot been missing. The answer was yes. You've got to deliver everything with sensitivity. You sat there, a lady on your own, in a room full of strangers, and you've got some stranger telling you your son's a druggie. What are you going to do? You're going to all the defences, but they shouldn't have happened in the first place. So yes, when you work with spirit, the highest degree of reverence and dignity at all times is respect to the spirit world. They do not have to work through you. They are not there at your beck and call. It's respect and dignity to the sitter.
As well,
dignity to the place in which you're working. You're invited there as a guest, and you should behave accordingly. So yeah, 2 very good words there, Marion. Thank you. That's Mary saying. You never know, Mary. You never know.
A haunted computer. I like that.
It sounds very wrong, doesn't it, to say this? But I'm dying to do it. All right,
okay. I think we're I don't see any more questions. Lots of nice comments, so that's good. Yeah,
Good.
that's very good. And again, sorry.
No, carry on.
No, I was just going to say thank you to you for giving us your time again, and turning the tables on you for once was great fun. And thank everybody that's joined us and everyone that will be watching this on catch up. That really is brilliant. So I think it's over to you to say good night, unless you've got any information on future events to talk about, Lawrence.
Oh, it's just now you caught me off.
Oh, sorry, no.
I haven't got my calendar up. What have we got coming up? Where are we?
Saturday is Melanie Blythe. Is that correct?
It is indeed. She'll be talking about her work as a trance and a physical medium. And I have had the privilege of attending some of Mel's residential courses a long time ago, and her physical work frightened the life out of me a couple of times. It's absolutely amazing. So we're looking forward to catching up again with Mel on Saturday night, and she will also be taking our Zoom service on Sunday morning at 10:45, remote at 10:30. Sunday afternoon, streamed live from within the church. Our Sunday Divine service this week is taken by Mark Stone.
Yeah.
So doors open at 2:30, 3 o'clock prompt start. Please note the doors will be closed once the service commences. But we're looking forward to welcoming back Mark. He took our Christmas Eve service and gave he just gives he's a lovely orator. He talks so wonderfully. So really looking forward to his service on Sunday. Monday evening, 7 o'clock, and Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, we have meditation time. Next Wednesday, we have Ricky Whitmore coming out of the darkest Devon.
Yeah, the darkest Devon.
Yeah, and he's going to be talking on trance healing.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we're having a bit of a trancey weekend. That wasn't planned, but it's fallen together nicely. And
brilliant.
So lots again coming up, going on forwards in the future. We've got some wonderful. We've got a chap talking to us from Liverpool, Lewis Powell, about his healing journey, and he's going to be really interesting. Trust me, he's going to be such an interesting talk. Gillian Schofield is coming back, who gave us a wonderful talk about shamanism, and she mentioned in there about connecting with guides and soul retrieval. Quite a few people asked on that subject, so she is coming back to give a talk on connecting with your guides and soul retrieval. There's a lady called Debbie Walker, who is a sound healer, and she will be talking to us as well. That's all through the month of March. On our Spiritualism Lyceum nights, as I say, next Wednesday we've got Ricky. The Wednesday after, Lynn Gibdis-Swartz will be talking to us, and we have Simon James giving us a talk, and Stephen Trolland also. So
really good. Yeah, a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, so blown away. Wonderful teachers that we never have had access to are giving their time to the church. So wonderful.
Excellent. We got that's it. Just thanks. Yeah.
So we have to say good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you again, Lawrence.
Thank you, Jamie. Made a great
pleasure.
Interview.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah.
I'm more prepped than me. You've got questions written down.
It's the teacher in me, I'm afraid.
I had a wonderful friend who was a great entertainer and a great pianist, and used to work on the cruise lines and everything. And he taught me how to schmooze. He was a smoother par excellence, and some of that rubbed off on me.
Yeah. It's a good trick if you can do it. Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. Look after yourselves. Stay safe, stay sane. Love you all, miss you all. You know what? One day we're going to have such a big party.
Yeah. Okay. We can hire a big tent in Poole Park. Yeah.
Oh, there's just going to be such a party, and I'm going to do the music.